going to keep on slipping, and he'll keep on doing that, especially as the weather gets colder. Watch this. Look at him slide. See how he tries to cut? See, there's nothing on the outside to stop him from doing that. You know, he really's tackling himself just by his tape job.
Beat to throw on 2nd and 10, and this one too short for Ed West, trying to make his first catch of the year. Dave Wyman on the coverage. Stops the clock with 6:17 to go. And the Denver Broncos, whose success away from home has been, or lack of it, has been charted throughout the years.
And points. They just don't score well on the road for some reason. I asked John Elway about it. John had no explanation. He said we should play well. We're the same team. We come in on a business trip.
He said that's what Mike Shanahan's trying to emphasize. The fact you're not here to see relatives or see friends. You're here on a business trip. Well, Elway's business was done early. Driving through people down to the 22-yard line. He runs hard at 187.
He really, really does. He's got a lot of power. But, boy, what a decision Ray Rhodes has to make now. 4th down and short yardage. You know, I mean, do you make the momentum call with your gut? Look at the job the offensive line does, though. McIntyre, Barrett Brooks. Boy, there is a hole there. What a super job that offensive line has done.
If they would kick the field goal from here, they would be up by 18 points, which would be 3 scores and essentially ice it.
I think this is a heart call, not a head call. I think you're making this one with your heart. Mike Shanahan, you know, is happy that he's trying it.
We've got a timeout. 5.5 minutes to go in Philly. With the benefit of a timeout, Ray Rhodes has changed his mind and will go for the field goal.
He's allowed his head to overrule his heart and the fans that are screaming and yelling here for go for it. I think this is a good decision.
Those fans don't have contracts. This will be a 39-yard kick. Anderson's only other try was short from 32. And one of the most accurate kickers in the history of this game knocks it through to make what may be an insurmountable 18-point lead. 31-13 Eagles, much to the delight of owner Jeffrey Lurie, sitting in his box watching his team lead by 18 with 5:26 to go in the game. This would make the Eagles 6-4 this year.
Jeff Lurie has said that he does not want to move this team out of Philadelphia. Like to have a new stadium because this one here is actually a baseball stadium. He'd love to have one just for football, but made a commitment to keep the team here. Wants the fans of the Eagles to know that.
Can't have too many more teams move. I'm going to get real caught up on the nicknames. It took me forever to get the Raiders back in Oakland. Glenn Milburn from the 2. Another gaping hole in the middle of the coverage team up to the 38-yard line. The best pregame show in the NFL begins every Sunday at 11:45 a.m. sharp with Chris Berman and the gang on NFL Game Day. Then at 7, it's all the highlights of all the games on prime time. And at 8 p.m. Eastern, it's Sunday Night NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs against the Houston Oilers. And with the Chiefs and the Raiders in that division, this was a game Denver really needed. A loss, they will drop to 5-5. The Eagles would go to 6-4. Davis across the 40 out to about the 44-yard line.
You know, I like what Mike Shanahan does, though. He doesn't necessarily cast caution to the wind and put Millen in a place where he won't be protected.
4-man rush. Sharp just shy of a first down, and now the mark may give it to them.
Millen doing a nice job getting his team on the line. Denver effectively in a hurry-up offense at this point.
But the Eagles will give up those 5-yard passes as long as they want to throw them. Millen with a short set again. Sharp makes another catch down to the 45-yard line of the Philadelphia Eagles. William Thomas makes another tackle. There's John Elway, knocked out of the game in the first half with a mild concussion.
I don't understand. When he came out at halftime, they said he would not play you know, he has the concussion. Keeping him out in this cold, I don't know what purpose it serves.
Millen again to Sharp. Another 5-yard gain and another first down, but the clock continues to spin away under 4 minutes.
John Elway's clock stopped about 8:30 tonight.
Yes, it did. And those concussions are frightening things. Taken much more seriously these days. Millen tries to shovel pass to Davis. It's incomplete. I mean, 20 years ago, guys played the last couple of years of their careers. They'd get a concussion a game, and they let them play.
Trust me, I know, Michael. 20 years ago, you're right.
Is that the reason?
Yeah. Every now and then, it goes away. I went a whole quarter and a half of not knowing what was going on, and then couldn't remember it the next day. I mean, had no idea. I probably have about 4 or 5 hours of my life that are somewhere lost on a football field.
That's got to be a little scary. Try to go to the ground game, and Davis inside the 40 for maybe a yard.
I think the one thing that the Broncos realize is that this game here is important to them, yes, but it is a non-conference game, non-divisional game, and they're still in good shape in the division. They've got some games coming up over the next 4 or 5 weeks that, on paper, they look like they should do fairly well.
And make no mistake about it, the Denver Broncos are a far improved team over what they were a year ago. Of course, the Eagles, after losing to Dallas a week ago, could cut the Cowboys' lead down to 2 games in the NFC East. And with Troy Aikman's status being questionable, who knows? This is the standings right now. The Eagles would go to 6-4 with a win tonight. The only 2 teams in the NFC East over 500. What a change that is from a few years ago.
And the Dallas Cowboys get the Oakland Raiders next week, and I believe the Kansas City Chiefs after that, so their schedule does not get any easier.
And all at once, we do not have any juggernauts in the NFL. And Millen goes down. Sacked by Kevin Johnson, his 3rd of the season. The young man out of Texas Southern that they picked off the waiver wire from the Raiders.
You know, the Eagles' front line is somewhat interesting. You got Daniel Stubbs, who didn't play last year. Kevin Johnson was working in a liquor store. And you've got Ronnie Dixon, number 90, who was driving a truck.
A cement truck.
Yeah, so I mean, you've got guys who last year really weren't even in football playing up front.
And Rhett Hall is still out after having blood clots in his lungs in the preseason. 4th and a $25 cab ride. Millen for Carpenter, incomplete, nearly intercepted. But the Eagles will take over on downs with 2:59 left in the game. Nearly picked by Jerome Henderson.
Eagles take over on downs.
Ray Rhodes and Mike Shanahan, certainly a great deal of mutual respect. They used to talk to each other all the time about this team is going to do something. How would you react to that as a defensive coordinator? Because I'm going to try to attack it with my offense. And they would share secrets. And I know you asked both of them this week, is this an advantage or a disadvantage that you know each other so well?
And they both said, you know, you really don't want to think about it. If you try and get into the other guy's head, it takes you out of your game plan. So they try and forget about the discussions they had.
Waters giving ground and then goes down after a loss of about 4 back at midfield.
And that's smart. Just keep the clock running. That's why Ricky did that. They'll be able to get this thing all the way down to the 2-minute warning in 2 more plays.
But he is not a happy running back at this point. Backs like their stats, especially a Ricky Waters. He wants to see those positive yards.
Yeah, but, you know, he'll take this victory tonight over any statistics. I think he's done a terrific job this evening running with the ball after he caught it, doing a good job of blocking, getting in the end zone when he had to pretty much on his own. Came into the game 4th in the NFL in rushing, so he's certainly done his job. The Eagles go with Derek Witherspoon at the running back spot. And this will bring us down to the 2-minute warning as the Eagles have wrapped it up here at home. They lead the Denver Broncos 31-13.
go. The Philadelphia Eagles on the way to their 6th win of the year. Coming up after our broadcast Sports Center, Dan Patrick, Keith Olbermann. They'll bring you up today on everything, including the stunner in Big D, the 49ers against the Cowboys. All that bonus money on the line in NASCAR. And our conversation that Joe Theismann had with our Eagles backup quarterback Randall Cunningham. All that and more on Sports Center, including some of those great promos. His job is to hang on to the football. Let's go to Mark Malone. Mark?
Thanks, Mike. Of course, Bobby Taylor now in our spotlight. He has a pretty good night after being vandalized for the first touchdown. I don't think Hugh Millen really knew how to get after Bobby Taylor. Here on the blitz, Ed McCaffrey will work the hook against him in the blitz. He's wide open. They don't get him the football. And John Elway, however, stayed in this football game. There's no doubt he would have. As he got hit, knocked out of the game, take a look at who he was going to. Right there, Mike Pritchard with Bobby Taylor trailing by 2 yards. Elway told us in the meeting he respected both corners, but he thought he'd have to work the rookie first. And if he'd have stayed in this football game, I think Bobby Taylor, although he'll be a fine corner, would have had a much more difficult night. Mike?
And Mark, I thought the rookie, on the whole, has acquitted himself rather well this year. John Elway looking on. Taylor out of Notre Dame. Big corner.
6'3". Not, you know, Ray Rhodes, if there's one thing about Bobby Taylor he'd like to see is a little bit more intensity in practice. But boy, when it comes to games, he knows how to take it up a notch.
Tom Hutton will have to punt it away and does his job, just doesn't get it blocked. There is a flag down, and Hutton was hit as they came after him. And it looked like Harold Hasselback was the guilty party. When you don't think punters fear this kind of situation, too. They know everybody is coming, and they are so exposed. If it's not a 15-yard variety, it will still be 4th down, although that's academic at this point.
Of course, you have obviously running into the kicker, which is a 5-yard penalty, and roughing the kicker, which is 15. So now the Eagles can choose to decline it or take the penalty and kick it again.
Running into the kicker, the penalty is refused. 1st and 10 for Denver on the 20-yard line.
Ray Rhodes not wanting to risk his kicker any more possible injury. He sets his foot and he just gets blocked.
Hasselback rolled right into the leg that was planted. And it looked like he may have had a lot of contact before he hit him. So Mike Shanahan, it'll be a long play ride back to Denver as his club has been beaten 31-13.
And I think that's the big, you used the right word, Mike. They were beaten. I mean, they were physically beaten in this football team, and Mike Shanahan does not like to see that. It's one thing to play hard and lose. Coaches never like to, but it's another thing to get physically beaten. And that's what the Eagles did to him.
Millen out of the shotgun and throws to Milburn. Talk about team players. Glenn Milburn has been just that. Counted on to be a big part of the offense this year. He was replaced by Terrell Davis and says they haven't seen any reason to take him out, and I don't blame them. He has played that well, and it's very rare to hear a player, especially with the talent of a Glenn Milburn, say something like that.
You know, Glenn Milburn last year had 77 catches in this offense. So far this year, he has 7. That was his 8th.
Underneath to Rivers. Gets it out to about the 35. Clock continues to run. And I think you're right. Mike Shanahan saying discretion is the better part of valor right now. There's no sense to get Hugh Millen knocked out of this game, too. And he's got Terrell Davis on the sideline. Smart coaching decision. Milburn. Nice job to get some more yardage out of it. Forced out of bounds at the 41-yard line.
You know, on the Eagles side, Mike, Ray Rhodes talked about his football team being really down and embarrassed after the job that they did against the Oakland Raiders. Actually, the Raiders did on them. And he wanted his team to play hard and play well. That they felt the same way after the Cowboy game last week. They felt like they laid an egg, didn't play hard. He's got to be very proud of what he's seen this evening.
Well, John Gruden came out with an excellent game plan. Really kept the Denver defense off balance. Here's Milburn in a gaping hole.